What's up, everybody? How's it going? So this episode today is with Kristy Frenken-Francis. I've recorded this intro so many times, and I've gotten her last name wrong every single time. It's this curse that I will forever have. So hopefully, future guests, I will be able to pronounce their last names. But anyways, me and Kristy today, we talk about writing. We talk about she's an English major, so we talk about the humanities, kind of the death of the humanities, people being less interested in going into pursuing writing or other of the fine arts. We talk about funerals also at the beginning, which is kind of been a big problem and paranoia with me. I just do not like funerals, but we get into that, and then we also talk about her struggles with mental health. Her involvement being a Métis woman and kind of what that means for her. And other than that, Kristy's a great person. She brings a lot of laughs, so we have a good time on this podcast. So other than that, give it up for Kristy Frenken-Francis. So I got Kristy here. Kristy, also, this thing with last names is really driving me nuts. I have gotten, like, Graham's last name I got wrong. Or, like, pronounced weirdly. Yeah. I don't know what was up with me. Your last name. How do I say it? What is your last name?
Frenken-Francis. Not Franken. Frenken.
Frenken-Francis. Okay, the Francis is easy. Frenken.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where is that from? What is?
So it's not even my fucking last name. Oh, am I allowed to swear?
Yes, please okay. Swear. Please swear.
It's not even my last name.
Yeah.
Really, it's my ex-stepfather's last name, and it's Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. But my mom got married when I was 5. My last name was originally Cooper-Francis, and then she got married, and then we were like, let's change my name.
Yeah, okay.
And then she got divorced, but I kept the name. So
wow,
yeah.
A journey of names you have been on.
Mm-hmm.
Ever any changes with the first name, or does that remain the same?
Well, I mean, my full name is Christina.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, that confuses people as well.
Do you not like being called Christina?
I mean, my great aunts and like my mom, when she's worried about me, are the only people who call me that.
Okay, yeah.
It's fine, and people call me that at work because that's my legal name.
Yeah,
but. Yeah. Kristy's just so much more natural and easier.
It like it's the opposite with me because like some people shorten my name to Luke, which like I know it is weird, and it kind of like I don't want to say like it rubs me the wrong way as if like I'm like you must refer to me by my real name.
Yeah.
But it's weird to hear it.
No,
so
absolutely.
it's like weird to.
There's like an intimacy to having like someone call you a name other than the name that you go by naturally and all the time. Yeah, like my best friend and my nana call me Chris, and those are like the only people who I'm really okay with.
Strange. Wow, interesting. Well, anyways, to segue into what we want to talk about today, I really wanted to have you on, and I will just preface this by saying that I, as a person who does not this is part of what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
As a person who does not suffer from any mental illnesses that are diagnosed or are what is the word for continuous? Like
chronic.
I do I go through spells as everybody else does
absolutely.
Of sadness and depression and things like that.
But episodic.
Yeah, but generally I consider myself a very happy person. I'm very happy with my life. I'm very grateful that I'm very happy with my life. But as a person that does not suffer chronically from any mental illnesses, I find it very I feel like walking on eggshells talking to someone that suffers from mental illness, because I am very fearful of saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is like, I think, a very normal fear, and I don't want this in any way to be like, I suffer too, like, you must also take into consideration my feelings, because that fucking pales in comparison.
I have heard everything. Yeah. So nothing, like... Yeah. I've heard everything and nothing, and, like, it all, yeah.
Because like, even as I draft these guiding questions to ask, there are certain things where, like, is what I'm saying here wrong? Like, is what I'm saying here going to offend? Because that's the last thing I want to do, is to offend you, or to think that this is a space where you are not comfortable in sharing what you want to share. So, like, I just wanted to preface that by saying, like, I don't know if you're nervous, but I am very nervous.
And okay, don't be fucking nervous.
I know,
but I can see that.
Yes,
and, like,
because, like, I want to be as, like, welcoming and as friendly as possible, and, like...
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I appreciate that. It, like, makes me feel all warm and welcome. The fact
Thank
that you're,
Thank
like,
you so much.
almost a little bit the fact that you're nervous makes me feel a little bit better, because, I mean, it, like, shows that you care, and actually shows that you, like, don't want to fuck this up. Yeah. And you want to, you know, like, portray whatever properly. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, I'm an open book for the most part. Yeah. So ask me whatever. Like, get deep, man.
It's I don't know. It's just always something that's been, like, really weird with me. Like the biggest thing that a lot of, like, my friends from back home know is funerals. Like, I get really uncomfortable around funerals. Like, funerals really like I get weird. I get real weird at funerals. Like, I'm a bad person. If you want a comforting presence, I am much better. Like, I can send a card, I can send some flowers, but like it's not like I will not come to the funeral. Like, I will come to the funeral, but I'm just not, like, I'm not the right person at a funeral. Like, I'm a bad funeral person.
Okay, so when my grandfather died when I was, like, 13, I didn't go to his funeral because same.
It's just like for me, again, like, as a very, like, happy person and very positive person, like, to see so many people rightfully going through
interesting.
The like the grieving process, which is very long, very complicated, and is in no way remedied by kind of the condolences that you can offer at a funeral. But, you know, the appreciation is there, definitely. But, like, just for myself, it's just so strange to see so many sad people all in a room.
So it's just, that's really interesting to me, because same. Yeah. But sort of opposite in the sense that, like, as someone who deals a lot with depression and lives sort of, I mean, I'm a happy person. Like, I laugh a lot and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I do have chronic depression, and, like, I spend a lot of time in bed just sort of wallowing. And, you know, right now I'm fine. I'm, like, happy, so I like to make sarcastic and, like, self-deprecating comments. But being... when people are in grief and like, there's just this collective sadness that freaks me out almost in the same way, but because of the opposite. You know, you're so used to, like, you don't know how to handle it because you're happy, and or you're, you know, like, mental health community kind of would say you're neurotypical.
Okay. Yeah.
Meaning that you don't have, like, mental illness. Well, everyone has mental health. Yes. Everyone has mental illness. I have to, like, get my language straight. Yeah. But, that's really interesting to me, because I totally get what you're saying. Like, I get really uncomfortable being in a room full of grieving people. Yeah. And that's because of my personal relationship to sadness. Yeah. But, yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Just for anybody out there, if you don't need me at your funeral, just I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I am just a terrible person.
Yeah, like, if you're planning on dying soon.
Yeah, like, don't invite me.
Like, send Lucas a card, say, don't worry, dude, you don't need to come.
Please, like, and again, like, I feel like this is very selfish in my saying, like going to a funeral that is not any of my immediate families is like I should be there for my my friends as well too, like, when they're going through those things. I shouldn't be like, I need to just not come for myself. Like,
but I mean, I think there's something, like, to be said about knowing your limits as a person and as a friend, and knowing that, like, you being really uncomfortable might force your friend who is in grief to feel like they have to take care of you instead of you taking care of them or helping them. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't, if someone died and my friend Lucas was there and he just looked awkward in the corner, I'd feel like bad and want to help comfort you while at the same time having everyone coming up and being like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah.
Like I would much rather, like for example, if my friend is going through a grieving process, I would much rather be the friend that tries to take them out on like a day, like let's do something fun today, like let's try to like move on, forget, like no, not forget, but come to acceptance and
absolutely.
And like return to normal life. Like I'm very much, I think, comfortable in that scenario, but like at a funeral home is just like,
funeral homes are fucking weird.
Yeah, also. Like it's just weird. Like it's just weird places that like everyone like there's no occasion to be happy to go to, like anytime you go to a funeral home, it's sad. It's like
even if they call it a celebration of life, it's like
even hospitals, which are associated with sickness, like you have births there as well too, which are some of the happiest moments in people's lives.
Life-changing surgeries.
Yes, yeah, and like people are eternally grateful for what can happen at a hospital, right? Like your life might be saved and things like that, but it's like funerals are, I feel like, one of the only confined spaces where people go to just be sad. Oh. It is a business of sadness, which is really fucked up to think about. That like, especially if like you work like this is not like a dig to anybody who works at a funeral home, because I think that takes like a lot as a person to constantly be around sadness. But it's like their job is to build a business around like some of the worst moments in people's lives. Yeah. Like, and no matter who the person is, like if you go to a funeral, you feel some sort of emotional connection to somebody involved in the funeral. It's like, it's fucked. It's really fucked up. I don't know. Okay. Anyways.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Just like life chats. So what I wanted to talk to you about is writing, which I think is one of your main passions. Yes. So you are
even though I skipped my creative writing class today. Whoops.
No worries. But you are an English student here at the University of Ottawa. Shout out to the Faculty of Arts, which if anybody who reads the Fulcrum, which I may be one of the only people at the University of Ottawa, apparently the arts are dying, and like, which is something that
shit ton of my classes were canceled before the year started. And
that's just great. So we can get into that too, and the feeling that we have towards the arts in general. But when did writing, in like the broad sense of any form of writing, become like a real passion for you? It's something that like you wanted to pursue.
I don't know specifically, but I have I have these very sort of cute, blurry memories of me being really little and writing. Yeah. Sort of for the first times, and sort of like, or writing something for the first time and really recognizing that I was actually like writing something, rather than just like practicing my letters. I have this poem, and I still have a copy of it somewhere because it was in one of my journals, because I was and still am a big journal collector. If you ever, like, if anyone ever feels like getting me a present, a journal is a good choice, because I will always need one. I buy more journals.
Do you have like different journals for different, like, do you have like a journal for daily activity and then like a journal for travel?
Oh yeah. And I have like journal for daily activities that are some things, and then other things. Yeah, and then I have a like stockpile of journals waiting to be used. So you
micromanage the shit out of your fucking journals.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Holy
it's
fuck.
It's slightly problematic. Like, my entire life is on paper sometimes, and then I forget about them all and I abandon them, and then I'm like, my life is chaotic and I can't do this, and then I go back, and then there's a gap, and then that bothers me, so I start another journal. Yeah, it's good. It's a good time. But anyway, I have a poem that I wrote when I was like 6 years old or 7 years old.
Fuck, I don't even think I knew what poetry was when I was 6 years old.
It's terrible.
Oh, no, but still, like, any form of like, I don't, I don't even know how much I was writing at 6 years old.
Yeah, it was about going and getting the mail with my previously mentioned
real
step.
deep. That will be analyzed
Honestly,
in English classes for years to come.
I think it will, because there was some really nice stuff about the fall leaves around.
Nice.
And chasing my stepdad around our cul-de-sac and stuff, and yeah, I mean, it was amazing, really deep. I think it's gonna win a Pulitzer and all that, but
you're set just from 6 years old.
6 years old, I was a prodigy. Yeah, but I've just always loved writing. I remember loving learning how to write physical letters. Yeah. On the paper. And just from there, like, seeing words come alive and stuff within and all that.
When you were in school, did you still learn cursive?
Yes.
Yeah. Were you sad when cursive, like, went away? Were you like, because I know that I was happy. Like, I hated cursive writing.
I still write in cursive most of the time.
Bless your soul.
Or, like, sort of a hybrid of
Bless
cursive.
your soul. Oh, man. I remember being in, like, grade 3 or 4, and, like, we hadn't learned cursive previous to this, but we were given, like, a book. Just a workbook of, like, practicing cursive letters, and you would just, like, you would start with A, and you would learn how an A in cursive is lowercase, and then how an A is in uppercase, and then how, like you would have, like, fill in the blank words where most of the words were, most of the letters, were already done, and then you just had to fill in the A and how the A did, and then you'd had to, like, write a sentence using A in cursive. Oh man, it was rough. Yeah. It was real rough.
I think the main thing for me with cursive was learning not to take the rules so seriously. So my cursive is a bit different from like everyone else's. So I mean, my grade 3 teachers would hate me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I find it a lot easier to just have my pen basically continuously on the page and, like, constantly flowing rather than, like, writing out specific characters. I, to this day, cannot get a cursive. I almost said majuscule in French. I was in French immersion, so everything from elementary school is, like, all French.
Please, switch back from English to French.
No.
We want this to be as bilingual a podcast as possible.
Yeah. Anyway, a Q. I cannot write, like, I cannot remember how specifically to write a, like, uppercase Q in cursive, so I just make up my own. That's it.
That's okay. When did you realize that you wanted to, like, pursue writing as, like, a career? Or was it always just like from that passion that you developed at an early age? Was it always like, I just want to do something in writing? And what? Yeah,
I mean, I was also a big reader.
Okay.
So it was always just sort of my thing was reading and writing. Like, I was the kid who would spend lunchtime in the library, or if I had to go outside, like, my mom sometimes would have to tell me, like, Kristy, you have to go outside at lunchtime. I would bring my book and just sit right outside my classroom reading, or like go to the park but sit on the bench while all my friends were playing. My neighbor, when I moved when I was 8 years old to, like, a different neighborhood. And one of my, like, neighbors didn't know that my family had a daughter because I was always just inside reading.
Nice.
Yeah, they didn't know for months. And they still tease me about that to this day. So yeah, it was always my thing, was reading and writing. And I always knew I wanted to pursue it. Like, I remember when I was 13, we had to do, like, a project about our future life and stuff. And I had this whole plan about me becoming a lawyer and then also writing on the side. And it was just, like, this big elaborate dream plan that I'm still just like, wow, if that could happen, I would be fucking set. Like, 13-year-old Kristy, you've got it made.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't until I was 15 that I went into an English class, English honors 10, and it changed my entire life, and it, like, really just opened my eyes to the possibilities that were out there for writing and the validity of wanting to write. So it's always been a passion of mine, always been there, but, you know, it was always something that people were like, yeah, but you can't, you know.
Which is the classic.
Yeah, like, you can't make any money out of that. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, but like, you know, in my head, still secretly wanting to do it, or not so secretly. But then when I was 15, it was finally just like, I had this class, and my teacher was amazing and just like changed my life. Yeah. I say to this day that he is the reason I'm an English literature student.
What a boss of a teacher.
Yeah.
Shout out to those boss teachers out there that are just not terrible.
And honestly, are actually
really good at their job.
Yeah, literally.
Shout out to them.
So yeah, that was when I was kind of like, okay, if I actually want to write like that, I don't need to listen to people saying like, that's a fucked up idea. Why are you going to do this? You know? So. Which is
like something that I do want to talk about is this idea that if you want to be a writer, or if you want to do something in English, for example, whether that's be a writer, get into journalism, or like there are, which is a thing that should be pointed out. There are lots of things that you can do with in art, things. Like with an arts degree, that are not just limited to classical fields in the arts. Yeah, like
the amount of times I get.
Oh, so you're just going to
be a teacher?
Yeah, you're just going to be an English teacher, right?
No,
maybe like that's an option, but maybe not.
It's not an option for me. I hate that idea.
There you go. Yeah. But like there are tons of and like I should not speak from a position of like, oh, I have never, because I have done that too. Like I am like for like a lot of other universities, like my field, which is anthropology, would be considered in the Faculty of Arts.
Yeah.
So like but I was also guilty of in high school saying like, oh, like if you just want to go into English, like what are you going to do with that? I should not speak from a I was never one of those sons of bitches, because I was totally one of those sons of bitches.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like in some ways I probably still am, where someone's just like, yeah, like I just want to do like I just want to be like an artist, for example, and I'd like always in the back of my mind, which is a shitty thing, but I'm always like, well, what the fuck are you gonna do?
I mean, I totally do that too. Yeah. Like a history major will come, you know, and I'm like open-minded as an English student, but in the back of my mind I'm like, what is he gonna do?
They're just gonna be a historian. They're just gonna be a historian.
Yeah, like he's gonna work in a museum. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not in history.
Yeah. But I'm totally guilty as fuck for doing that shit too. So I shouldn't speak from just like, oh, I'm above that. But again, like as I was saying, if I were to go to a different university, my program would be considered the Faculty of Arts, and I would get the exact same shit. Like anybody in the Faculty of Arts is not gonna get like a job or anything outside of it, which is like something that I definitely do worry about. Like it's not like I have a ton of options, which is great, because like that's what a degree in social sciences and in arts affords you, a variety of options, as opposed to like computer science, which, well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to be a computer scientist. Or if you're in engineering, oh, I'm just going to be an engineer.
Absolutely.
Like, but like it's great that social science and arts affords you a lot of opportunities, but then it's difficult when you have a lot of interests and you're like trying to decide what you want to choose, which is something that I am like very guilty of, and which drives a lot of people up the wall when I tell them, well, I'm not really sure what I want to do that, and you're just like, well, you're like graduating in a year, so what's on the agenda? And I'm just like fuck, like I want to figure this shit out, right? So it's great and it's bad, both in like the same sort of ways.
No, completely. It's like, on the one hand, being in the sciences or engineering or whatever, it's both liberating because you have your job picked out for you. You picked it when you were 18 and you're there.
Yeah, as long as you pass, you will get a job and you will make, like, I'm sure, lots of money.
Exactly. But it's also restricting because if you have any other passions or whatever, like,
it's very hard
it's difficult to do that. Whereas in the arts and social sciences, it's liberating because we have so many options, but it's also restricting as fuck because of the anxiety that comes with having so many choices. I know in the past month, one of my mom asks me, so like, what are you thinking? I have changed my mind like 20 fucking times. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Which is I don't, like, personally, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that you should be able to change. I think that you should be able to change your mind when you're fucking 40.
Yeah.
Like, if you hate what you're fucking doing at 40 years old, like,
change your mind.
And like, I should preface this by saying that as long as you do not have any responsibilities, where if you quit your fucking job, like,
people are dying.
Yeah, like your family may go homeless or something like that.
Like, please
don't. Which is a huge fucking issue in its own right. But if you have the ability to quit your job, be comfortable, and have the option to career transition to something else, completely. I think you should fucking do it.
The people with the privilege to do that, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with, as long as they recognize their privilege and being able to do that. Yeah. That's a whole other thing, though. Yeah.
But like, do you feel that like being in the Faculty of Arts, do you feel that other, I'm already expecting a yes, but do you feel that other programs are prioritized 100%. over the Faculty of Arts? Like on the amount of shit given by the university, do you think like the Faculty of Arts is at the clear bottom?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what other faculty would be below us.
Which is really shitty.
Yeah, I mean, like, you walk around campus and it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah. There's just, God, I'm still pissed because if I would take a master's in English literature, I want to specialize in modern British literature.
Okay, yep.
2 of the modern British literature classes that I wanted to take were canceled because of lack of, like, students and lack of funding, and, like, there were so many classes that were canceled before.
Which is like if you are in science or like engineering or in any of those other large, like if you are any of the, or if you are in any of the STEM fields, like it's probably something that you've never had to experience. Like your classes are probably still fucking huge. Like you probably still have 100 people in your classes.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like there's just, it's really frustrating paying so much tuition and stuff, and then not being able to study in like the specific, because I'm in 4th year. I want to be able to like specialize in what I'm doing and what I'm interested in, but I can't because there's like such a low enrollment in the arts here, and that's because the university doesn't care. I mean, I don't know. I'm completely biased.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So, like, I will be clear in knowing that.
But, like even me being in, I think, a faculty that is catered to, like, we're in a fucking brand new, like, we're in the FSS building for anybody that goes to the University of Ottawa. Like, it's a brand new fucking building. It's probably one of the nicest buildings on campus, if not the nicest. Like, it is well catered to. It's 15 fucking floors. It's all glass. It has this huge fucking plant wall that everyone loves.
Beautiful.
And
it's now great for headshots.
Now, apparently, I was told that it is now overtaken. Like, it is no longer the largest plant wall in the world. Some country in Asia. They built it.
What is Ottawa gonna do?
Yeah, so apparently we no longer have that, but still, like, they're building a brand new STEM building. Like, the site building is still very nice. Like, the learning center, I'm sure a lot of that will be catered to science and engineering. And it's like what is left for the art students, which I think, like, I think people should pursue arts degrees, because just as it's flipped, maybe I'm wrong, maybe like this is totally not correct at all, but I think that there will be a flip where it's like we have too many people who are going into science, like going into the STEM fields, but maybe I'm totally wrong, and there will be enough jobs and the demand will continue to grow as we continue to become more technology obsessed.
Fuck, I don't know.
But, like, I guess maybe it's more of a hope than a actual thing that will happen. But I think that there will be a flip that we'll realize, holy fuck, we are totally leaving behind all these, like, art students, and we are in need of art students because like, you guys offer a completely different perspective than just people in STEM.
Totally.
And, like, that perspective is necessary because, like what I was reading in the Fulcrum today, an important thing is user experience. Like, for example, if you're working with Apple, they care about what the user thinks of the product. And a lot of that is, like, can be analyzed through a degree in the arts. Like, you know all about, like, working with people and how people feel and, like, how people communicate, things like that. And they want to know that. And if I'm not saying that if you're in science, if you're in the STEM fields, I should stop saying just science, but if you're in the STEM fields, that I'm not saying that you don't know
how people
think. Like, I'm not saying that you're just, like, locked up in a lab, something like that, and you have had no human interaction or anything like that.
Because, I mean, that's what goes on in my head when I think of STEM.
But I'm saying, you went to university for 4 fucking years to know, like, more about people. And I'm not, like, I don't want to generalize all arts degrees into saying that that's all you fucking learn about it.
No, but, I mean, English.
Yeah.
I will say that is what I think of when I think of English, is ultimately, yes, I mean, we're dealing with words and literature and like this whole past amazing lineage of just like language, but we're also dealing with what that says about people throughout history and now. And I mean, I'm taking this class right now that's dealing with 17th century texts on the fall of Adam and Eve written by women. And the amount of things that we take from these texts and relate them to like everyday life. Like, holy crap, it's amazing. And there's this amazing text by a man who's basically just like disparaging women and like their place in society, and basically saying like Eve was the original sinner, and so all women are awful. And there's a line where he says something about how women who wear makeup are basically like faking and not saying, buddy. Right? And that like you know the meme where it's like, oh, on a first date, take her to the pool. It was just like, holy shit. It's never changed. It's never fucking changed. 400 years. Nope. People are still the exact fucking same. Oh man, we're all fucked. We're all fucked. The amount of times, like, holy crap, it's weird. It's weird, but I love that because it shows. I think as an anthro student, you would find it interesting, actually. So I don't know it. But that's when people ask me like why I study English, generally I'll give the classic response of, I loved to read when I was younger, and I love literature, and I love words, I love to write, blah blah blah. I love words. I like that. I love words. I love just all words. All words are wonderful. Well, yeah, they are. It's beautiful. But if I'm actually talking to someone, I'll say like it's because I can get so much from a piece of work that like tells me so much about that time or that person or something. And I think that's just amazing. Well, as you were going through your journey of discovering your English self, unfortunately, very unfortunately, you were also going through some really shitty stuff as well too. So now we get into the really shitty part of this podcast, which is like it. You're already nervous. See what I mean? Yeah, but I think even in the shittiness that we are about to talk about, there's still good that can be found in the shittiness. So as you were going through your adolescence, and as you are now, you were going through mental illness, which is the correct term. So you suffer from various mental illnesses. Yes. Yeah. So, well, I like to say I live with. Okay. I've recently made that switch. So, and a lot of people say suffer with, and I think that's totally valid. I this summer made that switch to saying I live with mental illness. Just because I'm trying to put less of a sort of damper on it. Because it sucks, but like it is just something I live with and I deal with every day. So I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. Got to get the technical terms right. When I was 13. Probably should have been like a bit earlier than that, but that's when it was, fully like we were like, okay, got to get me to like a therapist and all that kind of stuff. And then it got a lot worse when I went into high school, and like 15, 16 were really bad. There were some times where it was like really, really bad. And then coming to university, moving across the country because I'm from British Columbia, it was difficult, helpful in the sense that like I got away from my small town that I have a difficult relationship with and all that, but it also brought up a lot of things and sort of I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. Maybe a STEM student could help me out with that. But then this past summer, after last year being a shit show of roller coaster-ness, and it was awful, I was very secluded, but then also very not secluded, and it was just like this not so great time. I was like all summer kind of getting in the process of being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it's still not really 100%. We're still like, I'm still sort of seeing, I was still seeing different psychiatrists and stuff and all that, but like everyone I've seen has all kind of agreed that there's something there, but they haven't just like given me a diagnosis, which is, maybe that's what they do or don't do, but it's frustrating. Yeah. It's very frustrating because I'm a person who, as much as I love that free open thought and all that, when it comes to my brain, I just want to know what's going on, and I just want to have like that definition, I guess. So, and it's been interesting this summer learning about why, not even why, but just like learning about that and sort of relating it to how I've been the past few years and realizing like, oh, this all makes sense now, you know? So, yeah, that's kind of been my little journey of, from about 12, 13-ish to...
So, like, I would love to get your opinion on this. I know you're just one person, but, like, the Canadian medical system...
Oh, God.
And mental health, which I'm sure you could, like, I'm sure you have tons to say. but if there's any, like, one prevailing emotion that you could use to sum it up, or if like there's one thought that like you've had since you began this journey and like up until now.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating when you're a young person, and I'm sure, I mean, I only have experience as a young person, not being able to really have, let me try and figure out how I want to say this, with insurance and stuff like that, and, you know, I could only do counseling for about 6 to 7 weeks at a time, or sessions at a time, before the insurance would run out with my parents' company and stuff, because like it was only for sort of that like episodic mental illness, like going through grief or going through sort of like an episode of depression, and I never felt like there was anything for me when I would have like these long episodes. Like I spent 2 years in a major depressive episode, and I would have to stop going to my counselor, who, now that I'm 20, like I realize that I probably could have been seeing someone else who, like, she wasn't the best for me, but she was who I had at the time, and she was helpful when I was 15. So, but I had to go through periods of time where I would stop seeing her and have about 3 months of a break, you know? And so it was like there was nothing, unless we wanted to pay a shit ton of money out of pocket, there's nothing for chronic mental illness and like really dealing with that continuous type of thing where like I'm in a major depressive episode and I, you know, have really negative thoughts and I'm very ill and not getting out of bed and all these things. Probably should see a counselor or a therapist or someone, right? So it's frustrating in that sense. I think that would be. And even this summer, like I was seeing an amazing counselor. She was amazing. She like changed. Oh, I just feel like I could just like, I don't know. I should have like, I don't know. She was amazing.
Shout out to your counselor.
Yeah, literally shout out.
Whoever he or she is.
She was just incredible. But same thing. If I hadn't been there only for the summer, then I would have had to stop seeing her anyways because of needing that like break sort of within the system. I could have gone back and been like, after a few months, been like, hey, I'm sick again, but really it would be same thing. So yeah, that's main thing. It's frustrating.
Yeah. So you started a blog.
Yes.
How long have you had it now?
So my relationship with blogs is a long and tedious thing, but this specific blog I started a few months ago, maybe back in May, April. I think I bought the domain name in April and then didn't write anything until about May or June.
Nice.
I had a blog when I was 14, and it was a book review blog. It had 1,000 followers, and I would get free books for
good for fucking you.
Things.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I had it up for about 4 years, up in just constant. It was big responsibilities sort of that I had put on myself, but it was my favorite thing. I loved it. Massive book nerd that I am. But then with school and with university, it just got to be too much, and I sort of realized it was a younger me thing.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't want to limit myself to just writing book reviews, and so it's only been a few months with the potential for joy. Quick little shout out,
yes.
but or shameless self promotion, as Tyler Oakley would say. But I've been happy with it. I haven't written a lot, but I've been really happy with having it as an outlet when I do want to write. So.
I read your piece on the Golden Gate Bridge, which is your late. Has there?
No.
Okay, yeah. So your latest piece on the Golden Gate Bridge, which I encourage everyone who listens to this to go fucking check out Kristy's blog, because she writes awesome shit, and you'll hop on the bandwagon before everybody else does, and you'll be hipster as fuck.
Yeah.
but so I read your piece on the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was fucking unreal.
Thank you.
Again, as someone who doesn't deal with chronic depression, it's hard for me to put myself in a space like that, but it's very interesting to see your take on the Golden Gate Bridge, which for everybody, I don't want to spoil it, but for everyone else is a very happy, oh look, it's the Golden Gate Bridge, here's a picture, haha, look, I went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
But you had a very different take on it, which is really enlightening to see how we can refigure such a very happy place, a very tourist attraction. It's on t-shirts, it's it's the fucking logo for a basketball team that plays in Oakland. Everybody loves the fucking Golden Gate Bridge, but your take on it was very different in a way that was inspiring for people that deal with mental illness, and what it means to go near any bridge of any significance. So I encourage everyone to go check out Kristy's piece. I don't want to talk any more about it to spoil it, so please go read it.
The potential for joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will leave a link as well too. But how does writing, any form of writing in general, either writing for your blog, writing for school, writing just for pleasure, whatever it is, how does writing help you cope with your mental illnesses?
One of my big things within my stupid brain of mine, I like to call it that because it frustrates me, is that I generally have a really hard time separating my thoughts and kind of collecting them and having them. I talk with my hands, so no one else other than you can see this, but I'm I want to be able to sort of set them down, all my thoughts and stuff, and just writing is this wonderful way that I can just put words onto a page and figure out how to configure them into anything and into what I want them to mean or what I want them to not mean. I'm a poet generally, that's kind of my main sort of outlet that I really take to, especially when I'm in having a difficult time personally, because I find it really, really wonderful and liberating, having such a small amount of words, be able to say what I want it to say, and sort of express what I'm feeling. But then longer pieces like the Golden Gate Bridge one, or I did one on shame. those were like personal essays for me to really just get my thoughts out on the things that I've been feeling and things that I've been really just wrestling with and wanting, and sort of in one sense I've been like, okay, am I the only one who feels like this? I can't be the only one who feels like this. I gotta get this out on words and like onto the page and put this out there to see if someone else, even if it's just one person, could be like, hey, yeah, same. Because that's a big thing, is feeling so alone in your thoughts, right? So writing helps me with that. I think that's it's just, and it's sometimes it's just really nice to see the words that are in your head on a page and realizing, okay, I may be crazy, but not too crazy. Sorry, trigger warning and all that for that word, but I'm very self-deprecating in, it's kind of one of my coping mechanisms. But yeah, that's,
well, like the way that you describe your writing is like something that I like, that I struggle with too, and that's just in terms of like just writing essays, where like if I'm writing something for one of my anthropology classes, like one of my writing weaknesses, to use like an essay writing term, is like I tend to just spit everything out, like, and I have a difficult time like ordering them in the right coherent sense, because it makes sense in my fucking head. Why should it make sense in whoever the fuck's reading it head? But it doesn't work like that. So that's something that I, as I continue to go through university, like am trying to get better with, is like trying to order my thoughts in a way that is conducive to what I'm trying to say in my paper. So that is something that I definitely resonate with, and I definitely agree with too. The self-deprecating thing is like something that I want to talk to about too, because I want to talk to specifically, which this again might be a very touchy subject, about memes that make like, I'm just gonna say that memes that make fun of like mental illness, but a lot of people who struggle with mental illness or cope with mental illness, to use that word, say that like memes like that, like self-deprecating memes, are helpful. For and again, to preface this, it's helpful for some people. It might not be helpful. It might not be helpful for fucking everyone. But like memes like that are very helpful for some people, and it's like to laugh at your own misery and like to laugh at your own shortcomings. I think for everyone is a practice that we should all participate in, because like you shouldn't think too highly of yourself that you think you'll never fall. Like being humble is a very important thing, but like that's just for people that don't suffer through mental illness. But even with mental illness too, like acknowledging like this is really fucking shitty, that like what I'm going through right now, and I may never be able to fully recover from it or to like fully move past this. So in order to make it better, I laugh at myself. So like is that something that like resonates with you?
Totally. So it's completely just my perspective.
Yes.
I will just, because everyone has a different experience with any sort of humor and mental illness and just in general. So, but it's a bit of a relief, honestly, because I mean, just the fact that you get nervous about talking about this, and you know, that you were like, I don't want to offend you and all that kind of stuff, which is totally valid, because there are so many problematic things within our society about talking about mental illness. But it's just, there's something so like raw and refreshing about seeing a picture of something so stupid that says something just so like blunt and self-deprecating towards someone who is mentally ill, because you know someone who's mentally ill came up with it, because like it's the only, there's this amazing series that I have all of them saved to my phone, basically, of like their stock photos, awkward stock photos of people with like captions that are sort of like I don't know, like a husband, like two men in bed and stuff, and like he's like, you know, Gary, like, why won't you sleep with me and stuff, and something or like, I don't know, oh, you're too, like, you say you're too depressed for sex, but you know you're on your phone right now, and he's like, and the response is something witty and hilarious, and it's just it's great, and I laughed so hard, because it's like, you know, sometimes it's really hard to explain to people why you can do one thing but not another, and you're too exhausted for certain things, or you just can't get out of bed because your brain is like, fuck you. But at the same time, like, you can kind of still function in some way, and it's refreshing. It's really nice, and it's really nice to laugh at it, because everyone takes it so seriously, and it is a serious topic, obviously. I mean, it sucks, you know, there's no getting around that, but I think we skirt around it so much as well, and that's one of the reasons why I've become so open about it, is because I used to skirt around it. I used to keep everything hidden from my friends. My friends had no idea that I was going. Well, they say now that they did, but they just I used to skirt around it all, and now it's a little bit easier to just sort of like say like, fuck, I'm crazy, and you know, whatever. And that doesn't give anyone else permission to call me crazy, but me being open about it, and that sort of helps me sort of give them permission, give my friends in a sense, like, and give something like this, like you, permission to ask me questions and say like, hey, do you want to talk about this, and like, are you okay to open up about this? And I totally am. Not everyone is. Definitely not everyone is, but I don't know.
So along with your journey of writing and your journey with mental illness, you are also a proud Aboriginal member as well too.
Yes.
Okay, so you are Métis.
I am Métis.
Yeah, so can you explain for people that don't know what that is? Can you explain to people?
So quick Métis 101, Métis people are one of the three just like main Aboriginal or distinct Aboriginal groups, Indigenous groups in Canada. We are descendants of like European fur trappers and Indigenous people. We have like a very distinctive culture that kind of grew out of that descendants, and we're still sort of fighting for our recognition as an Indigenous group. But I mean, there's recently been some things within the Supreme Court that have been passed, and it's all exciting and stuff, but I still get a lot of questions of, what the fuck is that? And, you know, you're not actually Indigenous. What do you mean? You're white. And I'm like, yes, I'm extremely pale. And I have the immense privilege of being a white passing woman. But I'm also a very proud Indigenous woman. So yeah, that's a quick rundown.
So what has it been like, if you want to put like all three of those together in dealing with all three of those at the same time? What has it been like, kind of making sense of all of it?
Oh man, you know, I was like thinking about this, and I feel this immense sort of like pressure in a sense, or responsibility as an Indigenous person who is very passionate about reviving that culture and reviving that pride within our people, to write and to sort of share that piece of me, but I also feel very like, but then also my mental health and mental illness comes into play with that and tells me I'm not worthy of sharing, and of like, I'm not Indigenous enough to be able to write about these things, and it's complete bullshit, but a lot of society tells me that, and then that gets into my brain, and then it's all just like fucked up. But I recently just wrote a poem about being Métis, sort of, and just how I feel having never been to Manitoba, the Red River sort of area, which is where my family is all from, and how I feel like, I don't know, just this quick little jotted down poem of why, like, what it feels like to be in Ontario, to have grown up in BC, but to have never really been to like my homeland. And it's just nice sort of being able to write about that, and sort of, I don't know, I feel like I'm connecting with something within me. Does that answer your question?
No, it definitely does.
I ramble, sorry.
Like, no, and I think it's super important to have Indigenous. Okay, to have Indigenous.
People still use Aboriginal, and like it's a contentious thing. And some people aren't offended by it at all. I'm not offended by it whatsoever. It's just proper to use Indigenous now.
Well, I think it's very important to have Indigenous voices like through all like channels of Canadian thought and Canadian media and Canadian art, whatever culture that Canada produces. I think that recognizing and uplifting different Indigenous voices is very important, like crucially important, and something that we have really fucked up for all of Canadian history, which is like really shitty that we continue to do that, and we have done that. But I think like and again, like not to put all the pressure on your shoulders, but I think like young people who are who know the political system to some extent, and you're very well educated, you speak very articulately, you're welcome. But I think young people like you are very important for changing the opinion that we have on Indigenous people, and for uplifting those Indigenous voices. And I think it's super important. It still mind boggles me, the fact that there are still a lot of shitty opinions and just shitty stereotypes that continue, that still continue to go on. And I can speak from my hometown. Before you, I don't think I met someone who actively identified as an Indigenous person, face to face having conversation. We had speakers come into my elementary school and high school, for example, but I never actually spoke to them as a friend. They were just some speaker that's coming in to give this presentation. But to know someone as I do know you as a friend, and I think is very important, and to continue to have that's why I just think integration in society is very important in general. To be exposed to a variety of different people is crucial for a continued understanding and a continued building of relationships between communities. Because if we don't if for example I had just stayed in my town and I had never once encountered an Indigenous person, there would be no relationship building between myself and another person, where there definitely should be, because you're super great, and
thanks. You
so
too.
I think that other Indigenous people should I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's just I just think that it's really fucked up what we've done, but I think that we are getting better.
Yeah.
And I think that we should get better. It's something that we should actively concentrate on doing.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely, no doubt there have been improvements, and no doubt there need to be more.
Yeah.
But it really just touches me that you even brought this up, because we could have just remained on writing and mental health and funeral homes, but
no, absolutely not. I would not have had that.
So it means a lot, actually, because the amount of times I get, what does Métis mean? I'm did you not pay attention in what do you guys call it, civics? Is that what it is in Ontario? Because in BC it's social studies.
Yeah, we have both. We have social studies in elementary school.
Okay.
But in high school it splits into history and geography.
Got it.
And I did know what Métis mean. I just wanted
absolutely. I didn't. But I've had a lot of people ask me and stuff.
And that education is super important, and to not receive that education, to not receive any Indigenous education at all is a crime, I think, because they are completely involved in Canadian history. They've been there since the very beginning, and we should completely acknowledge that fact when we're talking about Canadian history, and we should continue to acknowledge their their continued movements, and and make that a real effort in our continued Canadian studies.
Right.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask you is that the mental illness and Indigenous people struggling with various forms of addiction has been a big thing just in the news and in general.
Yeah.
So I want to know if you have any thoughts on that, or
I have a lot of thoughts on that, and that's a whole other hour, man. Mental health within the Indigenous community is a really, really big topic. There's the suicide crisis, and addiction and incarceration, within the prison systems because of different things, and it's this very long, drawn out incredibly difficult history of systemic oppression and violence that has led to this idea that every single Indigenous person is a drunk, and the fact that like Indigenous people, there are many who do struggle with just as any other people, but the fact that when someone sees like something about an Indigenous person in the news who was an addict or is struggling with that type of thing, it's immediately like, oh, it's every fucking native, you know, please no one use that. But, you know, that's kind of like the, you know, it makes people feel like they're allowed to use these slurs, and not that native is a slur, it's just outdated. Anyways, I'm not going to get into the language of it all, but it's a very long, like, drawn out systemic thing that's going to take a lot and is taking a lot of real work and effort and understanding and compassion to deal with and to get through. And I mean, the legacy of residential schools and this colonial oppression in general, it really takes a toll, you know. It's really difficult. So, yeah, the addiction thing, it's a really big topic. And mental health in general within Indigenous communities, it's a big topic, and I'm not an expert on it. But I have a lot of opinions. And just a lot of like hurt and sadness around it all.
Well, to segue into something hopefully a little bit happier, I want to talk to you about like your future plans as a writer, which this may not be a happy topic at all, but your future plans, like what?
Oh fuck!
I know. To just as we discussed, like, oh, you should totally be able to change your mind whenever you fucking want. So
it's gonna be on the record.
Yeah. So this is on the record. So whatever you say now, you must do for the rest of your life.
Shit. All right.
So
make a choice.
So even if like I'm not saying like to pick a career, but like just as a writer in general, is there something that like you see yourself doing with that? Is that something that you want to continue?
Yeah. So I mean, my big career plans and all that, they change every day. Yeah. I'd never know if I want it, like, every day I'm like, do I want to go to law school? Do I want to get a master's in English? Do I want to become a social worker? I don't know. Like, do I want to just stay in school for the rest of my life? Yes, I do. But writing is a constant. Yeah. No matter what. I'm a writer first and foremost. And it's not for money. Because there's not a lot of money in it. If I was wanting to be a writer for money, then I would not write what I write. Yeah. For one thing.
You would have to sell your soul.
I would have to sell my soul and write some like pretty fucked up erotica or something like that. Which I could do, I guess. But I mean, I don't think I want my name on that. No shame to erotica writers. Yeah. I think there's some really cool stuff out there. Yeah. But, you know, anyway. I write poetry and I write stories and stories about people, and it's not exactly stuff that would sell, but I don't care because it's what I love. And it's me. And it's my brain coming out into words. So no matter what, I'm going to continue writing, and whether or not that turns into some sort of career or if I get published, I mean, my ultimate dream is to be published at some point. Whether that just be a poem in a book of poems or my own book or a short story or whatever. Whatever, that would be great. I would just love to be published. But I want it to be meaningful. Yeah. And I'd never want to say, like, about my career aspirations, like, I'm gonna do this, and then if that fails, then I'll be a writer, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is when people are like, I have this dream, but then if that fails, then I'll do that. Yeah. Because, like, that people want to do, if they fail, is my dream. Yeah. You know? So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with it, is no matter how many times I change my mind on all the things I want to do in my future, writing remains my constant. So yeah, that's that.
Fuck, cool. That was good. That was fucking good? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristy. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for like number one, that like thank you for speaking about like just your struggles in general.
Yeah, no problem.
Because like for like we detailed, for a lot of people that's very hard to do. And I'm sure for you it's not like something easy. I don't know, maybe it is easy, maybe it isn't.
It's not easy particularly, but this is gonna sound awful, but I kind of turned myself off a bit in order to be able to talk about it, and then I use the humor, like I laugh through it. Yeah, I could ramble on about how I go through it, but it's getting easier. How about we'll say that?
Yeah. Well, still, like just for coming on and speaking about it, and just at least just giving your take and your experience on it, I think is very important for anybody out there who is struggling with mental illness or struggling with coping with living
whatever.
With,
honestly, whatever.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling with mental illness.
Just if you're chilling with mental illness, hopefully this fucking podcast helped you out. If you're chilling with mental illness. For like anybody that has any inspirations to be a writer, I hope this helped them as well too. Thank you for sharing that as well too, because I know for a lot of people too, they don't like they keep their writing like to themselves. They don't like a lot of people reading their stuff. Which I know for some people can be very hard, but you opened up about that too. I will of course leave links to Potential for Joy in the description of this, so I hope people definitely check that out. Is there anything else that you want to plug? Anything? Like, do you want to plug your Twitter if people want to see some great ass tweets?
What's my Twitter handle? I haven't tweeted in a while, but sometimes I get on a train and tweet a lot. But at Kristy Marie F, Kristy Marie F. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, follow Kristy. Check out her shit. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This was nice.
Yeah. So, take care, everybody. Bye. Be safe. Have fun. Live life. Yeah.